What if Master Chief joined the Space Marines? John 117 stands in a dead UNSC ship, looking at a Forerunner device that hums like a caged star. The AI in his helmet warns him that this slipspace core is unstable, that it can tear holes not just through space but through reality itself. He has seen too many worlds burn, and the device's data says there is another human empire out there, larger and more desperate than anything the UNSC ever knew. If he jumps, he may never get home, and something hungry might follow the path he cuts. He orders the core to overload, reality rips, and Master Chief falls through a screaming tunnel of light into Warhammer 40,000. The sky over Hive-world Decilium turns the color of fresh blood. Millions of people look up from work lines and hab-block windows as sirens start to wail. The normal glow of smog and refinery fires is broken by a burning wound in the clouds, a jagged ring of light that spins and shrinks and tears itself apart. Through it, something falls. It is not a drop pod. It is too smooth, too clean. A metal coffin with faded green paint and UNSC markings no one here can read. It slams through the high air, cooks the smog around it to steam, and hits the upper decks of Hive Decilium Primus with a roar that drowns out the sirens. Steel beams buckle. Walls bend like wax. A shockwave races down through work floors and hab stacks, throwing people off their feet. Deep inside the crushed impact crater, an armored fist punches through rubble. The figure that drags itself out stands taller than any worker, shorter than a full space marine, but built like a human tank. His armor is green, scarred, and covered in unfamiliar badges. A gold visor hides his face. In the control spire of Decilium's Planetary Defense Command, hololiths flicker and alarms explode. "Report," snaps Governor Helsiavan, the secular ruler of this world, her voice sharp with fear and habit. She wears a high-collared coat, medals on her chest, and deep bags under her eyes. A contact, my lady," stammers a Vox officer. "Unknown re-entry, not from orbit. It just appeared." On her right, a figure in worn black carapace armor leans closer to the screens. He has a rosette of the Inquisition at his throat and cold machine eyes that never blink. Inquisitor Malchior Varro watches the replay of the impact in silence. "Zoom in on the crater," he says. The image tightens. They see the green armored figure pull a wounded worker out of falling rubble, shield the man's body with his own, and take a spray of metal shards across his back. Blue-white light flashes over his armor as some kind of energy shield flares and dies. "He protected the citizen," the governor says, surprised. "Or needs him alive," Varro replies. "We do not know what it is." Down in the crater, Master Chief moves on instinct. His HUD is a mess of errors and red warnings. Slipspace core. Offline. Shield power, 37%. Fusion. Reserve. Damaged. Cortana is gone. That war is over. The new AI in his suit, a lean tactical program with no name, feeds him fast numbers instead of jokes. Atmospheric analysis, gravity, local radiation. So many signals he does not understand. Strange radio codes, chanting in low Gothic. Vox traffic shouting about heretics and the guard. He sets the wounded worker down behind a half-crushed support pillar. "Stay here," Master Chief says. The man stares at him with wide eyes, not understanding the words, but understanding the tone. Then the noise of gunfire rises. It is not the clean crack of UNSC rifles. It is a brutal roar, like thunder in a metal room. Screams mix with the sound of heavy boots and wild laughter. Green-skinned shapes burst out from side tunnels, shooting crude guns that spit glowing shells. Their teeth are big. Their armor is scrap metal. They bellow in a guttural tongue as they see the hole in the hive wall. Orcs. Chief does not know the name, but he knows the pattern. Hostiles, aggressive, charging. He is already moving. He raises his MA5 rifle. The weapon is low on ammo, but it still works. He lines up the first target and fires controlled bursts. The orc's head snaps back in a spray of dark blood. Another takes rounds in the chest, staggers, and keeps coming until half its torso is gone. Chief sidesteps, scoops a dropped crude grenade, and tosses it with perfect aim into a cluster. The world shakes. Orc bodies fly. He darts forward, shields flaring as heavy slugs bounce off his armor. His movements are clean, almost calm. He grabs an orc's wrist, twists the gun away, and slams the alien's own blade up through its jaw. The workers and hive gangers around him stare. Some try to run. Others clutch prayer strips and mumble to the Emperor, the god they know. More orcs pour in. They are laughing, yelling, firing from the hip. Their brute courage would break normal men. Master Chief is not a normal man. He uses the broken hive walls as cover and vantage. He jumps from a bent girder to a leaning beam, lands above a mob, and drops a sticky grenade into their midst before leaping away. He shoots while falling, turning in the air to track targets. His shield drops to 8%. He feels the sharp sting of shrapnel punching into the armor seals at his side. His ribs ache. He ignores it. He lands, rolls, and crushes the last orc's throat under his boot. Silence falls. Only the crackle of fires and the moans of the wounded remain. Codex note. Initial field reports name the green-armored stranger the unknown Astartes, though no known chapter claims his heraldry. One of the hive gangers, a young woman with oil on her face, steps out from behind a burned-out cargo hauler. She holds a stub gun in shaking hands. You are an angel of death, she whispers, using the common name for Space Marines. Chief looks down at her. He considers the words, angel, death. He is something like that. I'm here to help, he says. She does not understand the language, but she hears the calm. She lowers the gun. Others follow her lead. In the command spire, Governor Vaughn watches the live feed from a servo skull, a floating machine with camera eyes that circles the battle site. He fights like one of your Space Marines, she says. Armor is wrong. Weapons are wrong. Inquisitor Varro's voice stays flat. And he does not bear the Aquila, he adds, noting the missing Imperial Eagle symbol. On another screen, more alarms flare. Orbital scans show fleets in high anchor, Imperial Navy cruisers, Astartes strike cruisers. They were already here guarding Decilium against rumor of Chaos raids. Vaughn opens a channel. Battlefleet Decilium, this is Governor Heltia Vaughn. We have an unidentified asset on the surface. Resembles Astartes. Also, Orc incursion inside Primary Hive, requesting Space Marine intervention and inquisitorial guidance. You already have inquisitorial guidance, Varro murmurs. A new voice comes over the vox. Calm, resonant, like thunder softened by distance. This is Captain Severian of the Black Templars, it says. We are already inbound. Hold your walls. Hold your faith. The hololith flares as drop pods launch from orbit. Thick, armored cylinders streak towards the hive, burning through the atmosphere in controlled fire. They slam into lower districts and manufactorums, petals opening to reveal giants in black armor, white crosses on their shoulders, and the two-headed eagle on their chests. Astartes, Space Marines, the Emperor's angels of death in truth. They charge into combat with chainswords roaring and bolters barking explosive shells. To the citizens, they are holy terror made flesh. But in the upper hive, at the edge of the crater, the first to meet the green armored stranger are not the Black Templars. They are the governor's own guard and an inquisitorial kill team. Armored boots pound on metal as a squad of stormtroopers in black carapace armor fans out, laser guns raised. A tall woman in a plumed hat and ornate carapace steps ahead of them, power sword at her hip. Governor Helsia Vaughn has come in person. Beside her walks Inquisitor Varro, flanked by two hulking warriors in heavy armor, each bearing a massive shield and power maul. They are crusaders, elite bodyguards of the Inquisition. The smell of smoke and blood hangs heavy in the air as they approach the crater's lip. "Hold fire," Vaughn orders, seeing civilians huddled around the stranger. Master Chief turns. He notices their weapons, their posture, the way the man with the inquisitorial seal watches him like a bomb. He raises his empty hands, palms open, but stays between the soldiers and the civilians. Varro steps forward. His voice is sharp, his words high Gothic, then low Gothic for the crowd. "In the name of the Emperor of Mankind," he calls out, "state your chapter, your oath, and the name of your master." Chief's helmet translates none of it. The AI, already working on local speech, quietly says, "Languages, Proto-Latin derivative, multiple dialects, partial passing in progress." Chief listens to Varro's tone. Authority, suspicion. He answers in his own tongue. "Name, John 117, he says. "Rank, Master Chief Petty Officer. Service, United Nations Space Command. I fight for humanity." The words mean nothing to them, but his stance, his lack of fear before the guns, speaks loudly. Varro narrows his eyes. He is not of any chapter. His crest is unknown. His words are nonsense. He may be xenos-tainted tech or worse. His hand goes to a device at his belt. Governor Vaughn raises a hand. "Whatever he is, he saved our people," she says. "I saw it." "Heretics save lives too, when it suits their masters," Varro replies. "We cannot." The vox beads in everyone's ears scream. "Orbital alert," shouts a distant voice. "New contacts. Translation from warp at high anchor. Unknown configuration. The storm is growing." In the spire above, screens fill with nightmare shapes. Not orc ships, not imperial hulls. These vessels look like shards of night, twisted and layered, surrounded by flares of unnatural light. A warp storm blooms around them, like an eye opening in the void. "Chaos," Varro breathes, for once sounding unsure. "A war band, not expected here." On the surface, the sky above Hive de Solium tears again, much higher this time. But this wound does not glow clean blue. It seethes with purple and black fire. People fall to their knees, some pray, some scream. Voice traffic turns into a wall of noise. "Enemy fleet marking as the Children of the Rift. Patronage unknown," reports a Navy officer. "Warp interference climbing. Astropath choir screaming. They are saying the storm smells of new paths, of broken rules." Governor Vaughn looks at Varro. "Options?" she demands. Varro's mechanical eyes flicker. "They will strike at your hives," he says. "Spread corruption, open portals, use the orcs' chaos as cover. If they anchor their sorcerers on the surface, this world falls. Exterminatus may be required." "You mean burn the whole planet?" Vaughn says, voice flat. "Yes," Varro says. Chief hears none of this, but he sees the fear. He hears the word chaos slip from frightened lips, the same way people once said covenant or flood. He knows a pattern when he sees one. "Whatever is happening," he tells the AI, "it hits here next." "Agreed," the AI replies. "Power reserves low, shield stressed, firing rates down by 12%. Slipspace core signature echoed into something." It pauses. There is a non-physical interference matching warp-like phenomena. I do not like it. Chief looks at the Inquisitor and the Governor. He points up, then to the wounded, then to himself. He taps his chest. Let me fight, he says slowly, spreading his hands. Varro does not understand the words, but he understands the intent. We should kill him now, whispers one Crusader. He is wrong. He is change. Varro thinks of his orders. Guard the sector. Watch for new threats. Burn anything that smells like the unknown. But the hololiths in his ear also show the scale of the Chaos Fleet. His forces are stretched. The Black Templars can only be in so many places. He makes a choice. We take him, Varro says, to the Templars. They will judge if he is of the Emperor or a devil in armor. Governor Vaughn opens her mouth to argue, then stops. Fine, she says. But if he can fight, let him fight for Disilium before you drag him away. Varro inclines his head slightly. He is not a kind man, but he is not a fool. To Master Chief, he gestures to the sky, then to a stylized aquila on his chest, then to himself. Serve, Varro says. Fight, then judgment. Chief studies him. The words are strange, but the body language is old. Command, bargaining. He nods once. He will fight. He always fights. The first wave of Chaos dropships starts to fall. They move him fast. Stormtroopers form a ring around Master Chief, weapons ready but pointed down. Servo skulls buzz overhead, sending pick feeds back to orbit. Inquisitor Varro walks beside him, a constant low murmur of Vox traffic in his ear. Governor Vaughn returns to her command post, barking orders to mobilize the local Astra Militarum regiments, the Imperial Guard. Millions of soldiers, pulled from farm worlds and hives, will now march to hold a line no sane army would stay on. In the sky, brilliant streaks mark the descent of Black Templar Thunderhawks, gunship transports shaped like flying bricks. One of them roars in low, engines howling, and sets down with brutal grace on a landing pad that is already cracking from the strain. Its ram drops. A wall of black ceramite armor and burning faith walks out. The Black Templars are tall, broad, and heavy as tanks. Each wears a white cross on his shoulder pad and purity seals, wax-stamped prayers, on his armor. Their eyes glow red behind helmets shaped like knights' visors. At their head strides Captain Severian. He is even taller, his armor edged in gold, his helmet carried in one hand, his bare face crisscrossed by old scars. He bears a massive chainsaw to his side and a bolt pistol the size of a child. He looks at Master Chief and stops. For a few seconds, the pad is quiet, except for the echo of distant gunfire. You are no Astartes, Severian says at last. Chief's visor hides his eyes, but he meets the captain's gaze. No, he says simply. Severian turns to Varro. Explain. Varro gives the short version. Unknown arrival, great power, saved citizens, unknown symbols, chaos storm rising. Our enemy falls from the sky, Severian says, and so does this thing. That is too much coincidence for comfort. He fights well, Varro says. He may be a weapon the Emperor sends, or a test. Either way, you are best suited to wield or break him. Severian studies Chief again. What is your purpose? He asks, this time speaking in slow, clear, low Gothic, the common tongue. The AI in Chief's helmet chimes. Partial translation match, it says. He is asking your mission. Chief's answer is simple. I protect humanity, he says. The AI echoes his words in broken Gothic through his external speakers. Severian's eyes narrow. He hears the word humanity, and something in it resonates with his own vows. Very well, the captain says. You will fight with us. You will be watched. If you fall to darkness, I will kill you myself. He offers a gauntleted hand. Chief takes it. The grip is like a vice. If he were a normal man, it would crush his bones. His Mjolnir armor and Spartan reinforcement hold. For a moment, two very different warriors stand linked. One born of gene-forged science in a lost golden age, the other forged by the Imperium's own brutal modification and faith. Then Severian releases his hand. Onto the Thunderhawk, he orders. There is no more time. They board as the first Chaos dropships punch into the atmosphere. The Chaos landers are ugly, jagged things, covered in screaming faces etched into metal. They bleed warp light from their thrusters. They aim for the outer Habstacks and Shrine districts, where fear can spread fastest. The Black Templar's Thunderhawk screams across the hive, guns blazing. Heavy bolter shells tear into the nearest dropship, ripping it apart in a blossom of fire. Primary drop zone, Eastern Manufacturum District, the pilot calls. Enemy forces already deploying. Cultists and traitor Astartes in force. Good, Severian growls. The Emperor has sent us worthy foes. He turns to Master Chief. You may not know our litanies, he says, but know this. We do not flee. We do not bow. We kill the enemies of mankind, or we die. Chief nods. In that, he says, we are the same. The Thunderhawk shudders as flak bursts around it. Warning icons flare on Chief's HUD, but the gunship's shields and armor hold. 30 seconds, the pilot calls. Chief checks his rifle. Ammo low. He slaps a spare magazine from a fallen orc's pouch into his belt as emergency supply. It does not fit his weapon, but his mind is already working through ways to make use of enemy gear. The ramp slams down before the gunship even fully lands. The Black Templars charge out, a roaring tide of black armor. For the Emperor, they shout. Their bolters thud, shells detonating in the bodies of Chaos cultists wearing rags and stolen armor. One bolt round can turn a man into red mist. Chief follows, a half step behind, moving with their wave but on his own rhythm. The Manufacturum District is a maze of towering machines, conveyor belts, and narrow walkways. Chaos banners hang from broken cranes. Skulls and 8-pointed stars mark the ground. Cultists scream prayers to their dark gods as they fire laser guns and autoguns. Behind them, towering figures in spiked power armor stride forward. Traitor Marines, once loyal Astartes, now servants of Chaos. They wear armor painted in colors that seem to hurt the eye, with tubes of warp energy pulsing along their shoulders. Children of the Rift, Severian snarls, recognizing their colors. Kill them all. Chief picks a path through the chaos. He jumps from a loading platform to a crane arm, landing with a heavy clang. From there, he has a clear view of the enemy's heavy weapons. Autocannons, missile launchers, a corrupted walker like a nightmare mech stomping forward on metal legs. He marks targets. Suppressing, he says. His rifle barks. Even with low ammo, his aim is precise. He hits a missile gunner in the throat. The man falls, finger clamping on the trigger, missile shooting wild into the sky. He throws a plasma grenade at the walker's knee joint. The blue glow sticks, then detonates, blowing the limb apart. The walker crashes down, crushing a line of cultists. Impressive, a Templar Vox operator mutters, before turning back to his own fire. But not everything goes smoothly. At the back of the Chaos line, a figure raises a staff. His armor is ornate, covered in eyes that blink and mouths that whisper. His helmet is a snarling mask. Purple fire coils around his hands. A Chaos sorcerer. He chants in a language that is not sound but meaning poured straight into the air. Reality bends. A wave of invisible force rolls over the battlefield. Chief's shield flares bright, then changes. The energy feels wrong, cold, sharp. His HUD glitches. For a second, he sees not the manufactorum, but a flicker of the UNSC Infinity breaking apart. Covenant ships burning, the halo rings firing. None of it is real. All of it hurts. He grits his teeth. AI, he says. Report. External psionic interference, the AI says, voice clipped. This field is interacting with the slipspace core residue in your fusion plant. Shields are bleeding into something. I am having to reroute power every second just to keep your neurons from cooking. Chief drops behind cover as a traitor Marine's bolter rounds slam into the crate above him. Can you adapt? He asks. For now, the AI says, but every exposure writes more noise into our systems. This isn't just energy, it's will. Hostile will. Chief pops up, fires, ducks again. He watches the sorcerer. Purple fire gathers in the traitor's hand, then shapes into a glowing sphere the size of a human head. He hurls it like a grenade. It arcs, slow but inevitable, towards the densest cluster of Black Templars. Down, Severian roars, but he is too far. Chief moves. He sprints along the crane arm, jumps. The world narrows to the glowing sphere. He hits it mid-air. The thing bursts around him in a shower of warp fire. His shield absorbs some, but not all. Pain lances through his nerves. Images jam into his mind. Himself wearing spiked armor, standing beside a robed figure, burning worlds for a whispering god. He roars and forces the vision away. His HUD goes black for a heartbeat, then limps back to life. He hits the ground hard, rolls, and slams into a traitor Marine, knocking the corrupted giant off balance. They fight hand to hand. Chainsword versus combat knife. Void forged strength versus Spartan muscle. The chainsword roars inches from Chief's helmet. He bats it aside, drives his knife into the weak point at the traitor's neck, then twists. The traitor dies with a gargled curse. The Black Templars rally around him, bolters roaring. The sorcerer snarls. Interesting, his voice whispers across the battlefield, though his faceplate does not move. The off-world soldier still stands. He raises his staff again, but this time the Templars have a librarian with them, a psyker in blue armor. The librarian steps forward, force staff blazing with blue fire. By the Emperor's light, he says, I cast you back, witch. Their wills clash. Warp light rages in the air, purple against blue, chaos against holy psychic discipline. The manufactorum groans. Metal tears without any physical cause. People without armor fall to the ground clutching their heads. Chief feels the pressure, but weaker now that much of it is locked in that duel. He forces himself to his feet. Target, sorcerer, the AI says. His field is the main source of interference. Neutralize or disrupt, and I can stabilize your systems. Chief nods, even as his limbs shake from the aftershock. He looks around for a path. The direct route is suicide. Too many guns, too much warp flame. He chooses another. He sprints sideways, jumps onto a moving conveyor belt, runs along it, and uses the momentum to launch himself towards an overhead gantry above the sorcerer. As he runs, he grabs a fallen cultist's rocket launcher, checks the primitive firing mechanism, and slings it over his shoulder. Unsanctioned weapon integration, the AI mutters. Of course. He lands on the gantry, drops to one knee, and sights down the rocket launcher. The sorcerer and librarian are locked in their duel, warp energies clashing like invisible storms. Chief fires. The rocket streaks down, trailing smoke, and explodes at the sorcerer's feet. The blast throws the traitor backward, breaking his focus. His psychic shield catches most of the force, but enough gets through to slam him into a gnarl of twisted metal. The warp pressure drops. The librarian seizes the moment, driving his will forward. Purple fire dies. The eyes on the sorcerer's armor scream, then go dark. The sorcerer vanishes in a whirl of shadow, pulled back into the warp or to another spot. He does not die, but he retreats. The chaos line wavers. The Black Templars charge, chanting litanies, bolters and chainswords, tearing into the disordered enemy. Traitor Marines fall, cultists flee or die. The corrupted walker lies broken. In minutes, it is over. Desolium's Manufactorum district is a smoking ruin, but the Chaos beachhead here is smashed. Up to now, Master Chief has crashed into a new universe, met the Imperium's warriors, and helped win a brutal first battle, but at a cost to his own mind and armor. They gather in a war council chamber aboard the Black Templar strike cruiser, the Blade of Faith. The room is built like a stone chapel. Walls are carved with scenes of the Emperor's victories. Candles burn in iron brackets. A great hololith table in the center shows a three-dimensional map of Desolium and the space around it. Captain Severian stands at the head of the table. Inquisitor Varro stands on his right, hands folded behind his back. Governor Vaughn appears as a flickering image, vox relayed from the surface. Chief stands a little apart, still in his armor, helmet on. Technicians and tech priests have tried to scan his gear, but most of their probes bounce off unknown shields and alien codes. A red-robed Magos, face mostly replaced by metal, hums and clicks as he circles Chief, mechadendrites waving. Blessed be the machine god, the Magos intones. This pattern is unknown. Logic engines cannot classify. It is fascinating heresy. Is it dangerous? Varro asks, eyes never leaving Chief. All machines are dangerous, the Magos says. This one more so. Power density is extreme. Design philosophy alien, yet humane. Heresy, Varro repeats, more firmly now. Severian slams a fist on the table. Enough, he says. We are not here to argue words. We are here to plan war. The hololith flares. The Chaos Fleet, marked in sickly purple, orbits Desolium. Small icons show their assault craft. Other icons show Imperial Navy ships and Astartes vessels. The Children of the Rift, Varro says. A mid-ranked warband. They roam the Eye of Terror, testing new paths in the warp for their patron. Patron? Chief asks quietly. The AI translates the word. Varro glances at him. One of the ruinous powers, he says. The dark gods of chaos. We do not speak their true names lightly. Tzeentch, the librarian says softly. The changer of ways. Lord of sorcery, fate, and broken rules. The storm around their ships tastes of him. Chief files the name away. What do they want? Governor Vaughn asks. Varro points to the map where the slipspace breach occurred. Their sorcerer, Ethan the Riftseer, seeks new lines through the warp, he says. Paths no one else knows. Your arrival has torn a wound in reality, one that smells of a way he has never walked before. That draws him like blood in water draws a shark. Severian grunts. So this off-world warrior is bait, he says, and prize. Governor Vaughn looks at Chief's towering shape. He saved my people, she says. If the Emperor sent him, we cannot just kill him. Faith does not mean foolishness, Varro replies. We do not yet know if the Emperor sent him. For all we know, it is the Changer's trick. Chief speaks. I chose to come, he says. No god opened the door for me. I used a device built by my people. I came because my war was done, but war was not. Your signals said humans were dying. I go where I am needed. The AI turns his words into broken low Gothic. but the tone carries. Severian studies him. You came to fight for humans you had never seen, the captain says. That is close enough to piety for a start. Varro's gaze hardens. And yet your arrival tears at reality, drawing chaos, he says. The sorcerer's psychic signature latched onto your slipspace trail. Every time your shield flared in that battle, I could taste the warp's interest quicken. You are a beacon. He turns to Severian. Burn the beacon, the Inquisitor says, or hide it. Governor Vaughn's image leans forward. Hide him, she asks. Where? Varro looks towards the ceiling, towards a world far beyond. Terror, he said. Holy terror. The throne world of the Emperor. There, the High Lords or the Emperor's servants can judge this warrior. Until then, we limit his exposure and the storms he draws. Severian's jaw tightens. You would take one of the Emperor's finest weapons from the field in the middle of war, he says. Decilium will not hold without every blade. Decilium will not hold if that sorcerer anchors a bridge here, Varro shoots back. Every time the off-worlder fights, his strange core sings in the warp. Ethan listens. He learns. He will twist it. He used a null hex already. He gestures, and the Magos brings up data. The hololith shows a field of twisting sigils around Chief's shield emission pattern. Power scaling interlude, the AI says quietly in Chief's mind, amused by its own label. The Magos explains. The off-worlder's shield uses a form of spacefold energy, he says, speaking more to himself than anyone. It bends distance to spread force. The sorcerer's warp field is also a bending of unreal space. When the two interact, strange harmonics arise. Ethan can ride those harmonics. He can bleed his will into the shield, poisoning its code, or he can leech its power to feed his spells. The librarian adds, our own null fields, meant to block psychic powers, also disrupt his armor. When we protect him from the witch, we weaken his own defense. He is caught between two kinds of nothing. Varro's voice is icy, and the longer he remains here, the more the warp learns his pattern, he says. Soon, the enemy will be able to strike him through it anywhere, anytime. Or worse, twist his core into a beacon to guide demons. Chief listens. He thinks of the Forerunner device, of unknown forces, of the simple rule he has always lived by. Win, but not at the cost of becoming the thing he fights. I will not be used to hurt humans, he says. The AI translates it. The words land like metal on stone. Severian drags a hand over his scarred face. We stand between an Inquisitor's fear and a governor's need, he says. Decilium burns. The children of the Rift press their attack. This Ethan the Riftseer grows closer with each strike, and our new ally is both sword and target. He looks at Chief. You say you will not be used to hurt humanity, the captain says. Prove it. We strike the enemy's forward bastion on the surface. You fight with us, under my orders. We limit the use of your strange shield. We keep you under the librarian's ward, and we watch the warp's reaction. If you draw too much fire from the changer, we pull you out. If you break, we end you. Varro nods slowly. A test, the Inquisitor says. Better a controlled trial than blind panic. Very well, but after this, he goes to Terra. Governor Vaughn's image flickers. And if Decilium falls before then, she asks. Then there will be no world to judge from, Varro says flatly. We will burn it. The words hang in the air. Chief remembers planets glassed by Covenant plasma. Worlds where Command chose to burn everything rather than let the flood take it. He hates it, but he understands. This is the same cruel math. I have one demand, he says. All eyes turn to him. We protect as many civilians as we can, he said. No easy fires, no burning worlds until there is truly no other way. The AI translates carefully. Varro's lip curls. Mercy is weakness, he says. Mercy allows heresy to spread. We have survived 10,000 years because we cut rot from the flesh without hesitation. Severian's gaze is stern. And yet, the captain says slowly, without lives to save, there is no point to war. We are not like the ruinous powers. We do not kill for pleasure. Varro snorts. Speak for your chapter, Templar, he says. The Inquisition kills so that man may live. Governor Varn, from her hololith, speaks up. I stand between both of you, she says. I have seen heresy eat worlds. I have also seen inquisitors burn cities on rumor. Desalium will accept cost, but not waste. The room falls into a tense silence. Chief waits. Severian breaks it. We pledge this, the captain says. We strike hard. We hold lines. We save who we can. If the sorcerer's corruption spreads beyond our power, we consider fire. Not before. Not lightly. Agreed. Varro's jaw clenches. In the spirit of testing our guest, he says, I will agree. For now. Governor Varn nods. So be it, she says. Chief inclines his helmet. Then let's get to work, he says. The hololith shifts, zooming in on a location on Desalium's surface. A heavy manufactorum complex turned into a chaos fortress. Warp fire burns from its chimneys. Cultists swarm its walls. At its heart, a warped machine pulses with purple light, a reality anchor drawing the warp storm closer. The warband's ground bastion, Varro says. Destroy this anchor, and we cut off their easiest path. Fail, and the storm swallows Desalium whole. Severian smiles, a hard, sharp thing. It will be a glorious battle, he says. The assault force assembles in the Blade of Faith's launch bay. Rows of Black Templars stand in disciplined lines, checking weapons, muttering prayers. Their chaplain, a skull-helmed priest, walks among them, tapping each armor plate with a crozius as he intones blessings. Remember your vows, he says. No pity, no remorse, no fear. Around them, servitors load drop pods with ammunition, fuel, and death. Master Chief stands off to the side, watched by a full squad of Templars and a ring of servo skulls. The Magos makes last-minute adjustments, attaching small sensor wards to his armor joints. These will flare if warp influence spikes, the tech priest says. We will know if you are compromised. Chief tolerates the buzzing mechadendrites. The librarian stands nearby, force staff grounded, eyes closed as he murmurs mind wards. This will dull the sorcerer's claws on your spirit, he says without looking at Chief. Not fully, but enough. Thank you, Chief says. He does not believe in spirits the way they do, but he knows mental attack when he feels it. Severian approaches. In our chapter, we go to war with litanies, the captain says. You have none of ours, so take this instead. A simple creed. Say it when you doubt. Chief listens. I am the sword in the darkness, Severian recites. I am the fire in the void. I am the shield of man. I do not break. Chief thinks of his own unspoken words. I'll finish this fight. I'll save who I can. He nods. I can work with that, he says. The AI, in a rare show of personality, quietly records the creed in its memory banks. Drop pods open. Assignment runes flare. Chief, Severian says, you ride with me. We strike the heart. Varro appears, flanked by his crusaders. I will observe from orbit, the Inquisitor says. My acolytes will monitor warp fluctuation. Remember the deal, Captain. If our guest draws too much of the Changer's gaze, you will howl for fire, Severian finishes. Yes, I know. He turns his back on the Inquisitor, a deliberate show of confidence or contempt. "Into the pods," he roars. The Black Templars climb into their metal coffins, locking themselves into harnesses. Sealed within, they are nothing but hate and faith waiting to fall. Chief steps into a pod beside them. The fit is tight. His armor is shaped differently, but the harness clamps around his chest. The pod's door slams shut. Darkness. Then the red glow of ready lights. "Chief," the AI says. "Telemetry linked. Drop vector steep. Impact in 41 seconds. Any advice?" Chief asks. "Don't die," the AI says. "Also, the warp storm's edge will brush us on the way down. Expect more. Interference." "Understood," Chief says. The launch siren sounds. The pod fires. G-forces slam him into the harness. The pod rattles and screams as it tears through the ship's launch tunnel and into the void. For a heartbeat, there is weightlessness. Then the atmosphere grabs them. Re-entry fire licks at the pod's skin. Inside, Chief's HUD flickers as external sensors overload. For a second, he sees the inside of another pod. A memory from Reach, Spartans falling to their deaths. Then the image twists, becoming a drop into a sea of eyes. He forces the vision aside. "Warp touch at 15%, the AI reports. "Shield stable, mental contamination, within acceptable limits, for now." They slam into the atmosphere fully. The pod shakes harder. "Almost there," the AI says. And then they hit. The pod punches through a chaos-bannered platform, crushes a squad of cultists, and embeds itself halfway into the corrupted floor. Explosive bolts fire. The pod's doors blow outward. Black Templars explode out of the pods like bullets from guns. "For the Emperor," they shout again. Chief follows. The air smells of burnt oil, blood, and something wrong. Sweet and rotten at once. The fortress around them was once a manufactorum, but now it has been twisted. Metal ribs bend in impossible curves. Machine spirits wail inside their shells. Warp fire drips from pipes like liquid light. Chaos cultists scream and charge. The Templars advance in a shield of bolter fire. Chief sees a heavy stubber nest on a ledge above, tearing into the Templar flank. He breaks left, sprints up a sloping conveyor belt, and jumps onto the ledge. Bullets ping off his armor. He grabs the stubber, rips it from its mounting, and swings it around, using it like a giant rifle. He fires. The crude machine rattles in his hands, but he holds it steady, walking fire through the cultists below. Unorthodox, the AI notes. Effective. Bolter shells and stubber rounds chew a path. Severian and his Templars push through, hacking down anything in their way. They reach the inner gate of the fortress. A towering figure waits there. Not the sorcerer, another. A chaos champion in Baroque armor, horns twisting from his helmet, plasma pistol in one hand and chain axe in the other. "Mortals," the champion booms, his voice echoing with warp distortion. "And broken angels, you dare trespass in the Riftseer's domain." Severian steps forward. "We dare," he says. The champion laughs, then charges. Severian meets him, chainsword against chain axe, their blades spitting sparks. Other Templars lock with traitor Marines. Chief moves to flank, but the AI pings a new priority. "Anchor signal detected," it says. "Source, beneath the central altar." Chief sees it now. In the center of the courtyard stands a grotesque altar, piled with skulls and shifting metal. Above it floats a crystal engine of twisted design, pulsing with warp light. "That's our target," he says. "Agreed," Severian grunts between blows. "Go." Chief runs. Cultists rush to stop him. He does not slow. He lowers his shoulder and plows through them, knocking bodies aside. He jumps, grabs a hanging chain, swings over a pool of corrosive warp fluid, and lands on the altar itself. Up close, the anchor engine hurts to look at. It bends lines wrong. Its angles do not add up. Voices whisper from it in no language at all. Chief steadies himself. "How do we break it?" he asks. The AI hesitates, then says, "Hit it very, very hard." Chief draws a grenade, sets its timer short, and jams it into a crack in the engine. Then he jumps back, shielding his visor with one arm. The grenade detonates. The explosion is small compared to the warp light flare. Lines of purple fire shoot out, blasting cultists apart, tearing cracks in the floor. The engine flickers, fractures. For a moment, the warp itself screams. Then the anchor shatters. The warp storm above the fortress flickers like a dying candle. In that instant, the champion fighting Severian staggers. His connection to his patron weakens. His armor's eyes go dark. Severian takes the opening. His chainsword bites deep, cutting through corrupted ceramite and flesh. The champion falls. The Black Templars surge, finishing off the remaining traitor marines and cultists. The fortress shakes. "Anchor destroyed," the AI says. "Warp readings dropping by 40%. Local reality stabilize." It stops. Chief feels it too. A cold, precise attention turns towards him from somewhere very far away and impossibly close. A voice whispers inside his skull. "Ah," it says. "There you are." It is not spoken aloud. It is thought, pressed into his mind like a thumb into soft metal. Images flash, the Forerunner device, the slipspace core, the golden path he cut through realities. The voice laughs softly. "You are the wound in the world," it says. "You are the knife that cut a new line. I am Ethan, seer of the rift, and you, little soldier, are my map." Chief drops to one knee. Pain spikes behind his eyes. The AI yells. "External psychic incursion," it shouts. "He is reaching through the slipspace pattern in your core. He's tracing your path back, learning its shape." Chief grits his teeth. "Get out of my head," he snarls. The voice chuckles. "You cannot close what you have opened," it says. "Every time your shield flares, every time your core hums, I learn more. Soon, I will step through the line you drew and walk lands your golden throne has never seen." The thought of chaos loose in the UNSC's universe slams into Chief like a physical blow. He forces himself to stand. "No," he says. He does not know if words matter in a battle of wills, but he speaks anyway. "This line stays here." He reaches down, mentally, towards the Forerunner core in his chest. He orders it to change. The AI understands. "You're reconfiguring the harmonic signature," it says. "Closing the resonant window. That will hurt." "Do it," Chief says. Inside his armor, circuits burn. Power lines reroute. The simple, clean pattern of the slipspace trail twists, becoming jagged, harder to follow. Ethan's voice rises, annoyed. "Interesting," the sorcerer says. The knife bites back. "But you are no psyker, little soldier. You cannot hold this forever. Every time you fight, you will pay for this." His presence withdraws, but not completely. A thin thread of awareness remains, like a hook buried in meat. "Until soon," the voice purrs. "We will speak again, perhaps at your trial." Then silence. Chief sags, suddenly exhausted. His shield indicator drops to 0, then inches back up, far slower than before. The AI's voice is strained. "You did it," it says. "You made his route messy. He can't walk your old path easily now. But the damage to your systems is serious. Every time you push the core like that, you'll drain yourself and draw his attention. This is now your cost of fighting." Chief breathes, slow and steady. If that's the price, he says, we pay it. Around him, the Black Templars secure the fortress. Severian strides up, chainsword dripping black blood. The anchor is destroyed, the captain says. The storm weakens. You have done well. Varro's voice crackles over Vox. Warp readings? He demands. The librarian, catching his breath, answers. Lower, he says, but not gone. Ethan still circles above, and he has found a new toy. He glances at Chief. Varro's silence speaks volumes. Back in the War Council chamber, the debate starts again, sharper this time. Your actions have confirmed my fears, Varro says, eyes like knives on Chief. The sorcerer reached through your core, used your slipspace pattern as a ladder. He spoke to you. You changed the pattern. This is unstable heresy. He also broke the enemy's anchor, Severian countered. Without him, that fortress would still stand, and the storm would be worse. Governor Vaughn's image flickers back into being. Casualty reports? She asks. High, Varro says, but lower than in my projections without this variable. He says it grudgingly. Chief stands in the same place as before, feeling the weight of their stares. His shield still recovers slowly. He can feel a faint ache in his bones, as if the warp touch has soaked into him. The Magos confirms it. The core's pattern is altered, the tech priest says. Less resonant, harder to map, but also less efficient. Every combat activation will cost more power. If pushed too far, it will burn out. If it burns out, the off-worlder dies, the librarian adds, and each push is a new flare in the warp. Ethan will feel them. Even with a messy trail, he will still know when and where this one fights. Varro seizes on that. He cannot be allowed to fight freely, the Inquisitor says. Every battle he joins is a beacon. Every victory draws the Changer's gaze. Desalium gained time today, but at what price tomorrow? Severian's voice is iron. Desalium gained lives today, he says. Your exterminators can always take lives later. I prefer success before failure. Varro's lips thin. You twist words like a snake, he says. No, Severian replies. I speak as a warrior who has seen too many worlds die because men chose safety over courage. Governor Vaughn raises a hand. Enough, she says. We are not in a comfortable position. We need clarity, not pride. She looks at Chief. You said you will not let yourself be used to harm humanity, she says. Now you see what you are. A weapon with a string tied to a monster's hand. Can you promise that you can fight without giving him a way to step through to us? Chief does not lie. No, he says. Not fully. Every battle risks drawing him in. But if I do nothing, he still comes. He already knows this world exists. He already wants your empire. The only question is whether you face him with me or without me. The AI translates, perhaps with a bit more edge than usual. Silence again. Varro breaks it. This cannot be settled here, he says. This is beyond the judgment of a single Inquisitor and a single chapter captain. The scale is too large, the risk too great. He looks at Severian, then at Governor Vaughn. We must take him to Holy Terror, Varro says, to the throne, to be judged by the Emperor's hidden will or the High Lords who speak for him. Until then, we restrict his use. No more open battles unless there is no choice. No more letting him draw the Changer's eye for mere manufactorums. Severian bristles. You would have us fight without our finest weapon, he says. I would have you fight without tearing new wounds in reality, Varro snaps back. Desalium has gained time. Its main anchor is broken. The fleet still holds. You can continue without him for now. Governor Vaughn closes her eyes briefly. The people will not like losing their angel, she says quietly. But I have seen the warp storms in the sky. I have heard the screams in our astropath choir. I will not risk chaos walking new roads just to keep one hero. She opens her eyes. If this off-worlder is to be judged, it must be by the highest authority, she says. Send him to Terra. I will hold Desolium as best I can with the troops I have, and whatever Black Templars you leave me. Severian looks from her to Varro, to Chief. His gaze is full of conflict. We could use you here, he says to Chief, but I am a servant of a higher war. If the Emperor's throne must see you, then that is where you go. Our bargain about mercy stands, but our time in the same battles may be short. Chief speaks. My war has always been bigger than my orders, he says, but I follow orders when they make sense. He thinks of Earth in his own universe. He imagines a version of Earth that never fell, ruled by a corpse on a throne, holding the line for 10,000 years. Take me to your leader, he says dryly. The AI translates more formally, but the meaning is clear enough. Varro nods sharply. Then it is decided, the Inquisitor says. We begin preparations for a black ship transit. He will travel under ward and watch with an elite escort. The warp will claw at him all the way. If he breaks, he dies in the void. Severian places a hand on Chief's shoulder. Until Terra, you are under my protection, the captain says, and my command. We will see you judged as warrior, not as tool. He looks at the hololith one last time. Aethon will not give up, Severian says. He has tasted your pattern. He will send reflections to test you on the way. The librarian nods, face grim. Chaos loves mirrors, he says. They will send a version of you twisted to their will if they can, to show you what you could be if you break. Chief feels the faint hook of Ethan's thread in his mind pulse, as if in agreement. The path ahead is clear. Desolium burns and endures behind him. The stars of the Imperium wait ahead. Somewhere on Terra, a dead god sits on a golden throne, and between those points lies a long, dangerous journey through a sea of madness, where a Spartan from another universe will have to decide what kind of weapon he is willing to become. Up to now, Master Chief has helped save a hive world, broken a chaos warp anchor, and learned that his own power now calls a sorcerer's hunger. He is no longer just a soldier. He is also a door. The assault on the Chaos Bastion brought Desolium time, but not safety. The children of the Rift still hang in orbit like a bruise around the planet. Their twisted ships spit smaller craft down like venom drops. The warp storm they brought is weaker, yet still claws at the system's edge. On the Blade of Faith, the war room feels even heavier than before. The hololith shows the whole star system now. Desolium glows in the center. Imperial Navy cruisers and escorts circle it. Beyond them, like a ring of broken teeth, are the Rift warships. Magos, officers, and Black Templar sergeants stand shoulder to shoulder. Inquisitor Varro watches from the shadows. Master Chief stands near Severian again, visor turned up to study the map. The children of the Rift have shifted formation, a Navy liaison says. Their flagship, the Unspoken Path, now sits at the storm's heart. The hololith marks it in dark purple. And their goal? Severian asks. Varro answers. Ethan the Riftseer wants one of two things, he says. Either to crack Desolium open and plant a stable warp gate on its corpse, or to take our Vizier alive, to use his path to tear open new roads beyond our borders. Standard counters? Severian asks. Normally, Varro says, we call in Grey Knights, dedicated demon hunters, or a full battle fleet, or a Titan legion. We drown the warband in holy fire. If that fails, we burn the world, so there is nothing left to take. He looks at Governor Vaughn's floating image. You do not like that answer, he says. I know what happens to worlds the Imperium gives up on, Vaughn replies. I would rather be a poor defender than a good corpse. Chief listens. He knows that if the children of the Rift survive here, they will follow the thread of his path. They will push outward. Maybe not today, but someday. The AI whispers in his ear. He is not just after this world, it says. He is after the idea of worlds you came from. Varro points at the unspoken path. Ethan's ship sits at the storm's heart, he says. This storm answers to him. As long as that vessel still stalks this system, we cannot make a safe warp jump to Terra. If we wait for more fleets, we give him more time to learn. Standard counters fail here because time is our enemy as much as his cannons. So we do not wait, Severian says. We cut the head off. The hololith shifts. Icons show a boarding plan. Teleporter strikes, drop pods, assault claws. We send a spear, Severian says. A strike team. We ram through the fleet, teleport onto the unspoken path, and kill Ethan, or break his hold. We do not need to take the ship. We need to break the storm. Varro's face is set. It is a gamble, the Inquisitor says. But all our options are gambles, and his bridge to the Offworlder's core grows stronger with each pulse. I will not sit and wait while he carves new tricks into reality. He looks at Chief. You will be the bait and the knife, Varro says. You are the beacon he wants. His attention will be drawn to you when you step aboard. Use that. Pull him where we can strike. Chief does not flinch. That means facing him, he says. Yes, the librarian says. Not only his guns, his mind. He will seek your thoughts, your guilt, your what-ifs. Chief thinks of Reach, of Earth, of all the names etched on UNSC walls. My ethic stays the same, he says. Protect humanity, no matter what he shows me. The AI adds quietly. That includes yourself, by the way. Chief ignores the comment. Severian slams his fist into his palm. Then it is decided, the captain says. We board the witch's ship. We take his head or his hands. Varro raises one warning finger. And remember, he says, he will not try to kill you first. He will try to use you. He will promise you ways to save more lives if you bend. He serves Tzinch, the god of change. His weapon is not just force, it is offers. The boarding. Preparations are different this time. This is not a mass assault on a fortress. This is a knife thrust. A small force gathers in a teleportarium chamber deep in the blade of Faith's core. The walls are lined with heavy rune plates. The air tastes of iron and ozone. Black Templars stand in a tight circle, armor marked with special warding sigils. The librarian is with them, staff in hand, cloak trimmed with psychic wards. A small squad of inquisitorial stormtroopers stand behind, their gear heavy with purity seals. Master Chief stands in the center. Around his armor, tech priests have painted new patterns in sacred oils. Holy hexagrams, warning signs, lines that are meant to bend warp force away. They will not stop him, the librarian says honestly, but they will slow his claws. The teleportarium hisses as power builds. Chief rolls his shoulders. His shield bar is at full, but a new warning hangs under it. Core stress limit, 71%. Exceeding limit risk, fatal. What is new? He asked the AI. When you twisted the slipspace harmonics to push Ethan out, the AI says, you baked in damage. I have hard-coded limits now. If you push too much power through the core, it will melt, and you with it. And if I don't push enough, Chief asks. He burns you from the inside instead, the AI says. This is a fun set of choices. Chief feels acceptance settle on him like armor. Every war has its own rules. The librarian moves closer. I will anchor your mind to mine when we teleport, he says. We will share some thoughts. You may feel that as another voice in your head. Do not panic. That is me, not the witch. Chief nods. I have fought with an AI in my head for years, he says. I can handle one more voice. The AI coughs in mild protest. The teleportarium tech adept chants, voice echoing. Coordinates locked on the unspoken path, he intones. Breaching through the warp storm is unwise. Doing it in the name of the Emperor makes it less unwise. Severian steps into the circle, Chainsword mag-locked at his side. We aim for the Sorcerer's Sanctum, he says, the heart of his rituals. Expect twisted space, expect traps. We move fast. We do not listen to whispers. And if things go wrong, Varro asks over Vox. Then we kill everything we can before we die, Severian says calmly, as is proper. The world whines like a knife against glass. The teleportarium's field grabs them. Light explodes. For a heartbeat, Chief is nowhere. Then he is somewhere very, very wrong. The Sorcerer's Sanctum on the unspoken path should not exist. It is a chamber with no clear walls. Its floor is a circle of cracked black stone, floating in a sea of swirling colors. Lines of purple fire form bridges to other stones in the distance. Stars hang inside, not outside. The air tastes like burnt paper and sugar. Voices mutter from every direction. The strike team appears in a flare of light, sigils on the floor hissing as new matter enters. Chief's stomach lurches. His HUD spasms, trying to place walls that are not there. Gellerfield. Weak here, the librarian gasps. He has carved this place inside a warp bubble. Cultists stand on the nearest stone platforms, robes fluttering in a wind that does not exist. Traitor Marines watch from iron balconies that jut from nothing. At the far side of the chamber, on a high, twisted dais, stands Ethon the Riftseer. His armor is the color of dried blood and deep night. Eyes cover his pauldrons and chestplate, each one blinking out of sync. His staff is crowned with a shard of something that hurts to look at, like a broken mirror that shows too many things. He lifts his head as they appear. Welcome, he says. His voice is not loud, but it fills the chamber. Chief feels it in his bones. The Black Templars raise bolters. Severian points his chainsword. Riftseer, the captain roars. In the Emperor's name, your witchcraft ends here. Ethan laughs softly. In the Emperor's name, I have ended many things, he says. Lines, futures, men like you. His eyes, all of them, turn to Chief. And one like you, he adds, at last. Bolters roar. The Templars fire first, as they always do. Explosive shells streak across the warped air, aimed at the sorcerer and his bodyguards. At the same time, warp shields flare. Invisible walls catch the shells, crushing them into bursts of color and blood that turn into butterflies and then ash. Cultists charge across the nearest fire bridges, screaming, guns wild. Traitor Marines leap, gravity bending to their will, landing hard on the Black Templars' platform. The chamber erupts into war. Chief moves with the others at first. He picks targets. He fires, drops, reloads. He punches a cultist into nothingness when the man stumbles too close to the platform's edge, sending him spinning out into the color storm. But Ethan is not fighting them like a normal enemy. He moves through the air, his cloak floating behind him as if underwater. His staff traces lines that become cracks in space. Warp lightning lashes out, hitting two Templars at once. Their armor wards flare. For a second, their bodies twist, bones stretching, helmets melting into horns. Then the librarian shouts a counter-chant, blue fire burning away the worst of it. The two Marines fall to their knees, smoking, but alive. "Hold your minds," the librarian yells. "Keep your litanies." He pushes his will against Ethan's. Psionic pressure builds. Chief feels it as a weight on his skull. The AI buzzes with warnings. "External psychic load spiking," it says. "Their duel is warping local math. Gravity may stop caring soon." Chief notices the platforms drifting a little. He knows he cannot just stand and shoot. Ethan wants him. The sorcerer proves it. With a lazy wave of his staff, Ethan tears a glowing line under Chief's feet. Space flips. Chief falls, not down, sideways. He crashes onto another floating stone, alone with Ethan. The battle noise becomes distant, like a memory played through a wall. Chief rolls, gets his rifle up. Ethan is right there. The sorcerer's mask is close enough to touch. Behind it, Chief can feel a mind like a maze. "Better," Ethan says. "Let us speak without the barking of dogs." Chief fires. The sorcerer moves without moving. The bullets curve around him, spiraling off into the colors. He flicks his staff. A pulse of force hits Chief in the chest, crushing his shields to half and throwing him back. He skids to the edge of the stone. The void of colors yawns below. The librarian's voice strains in his ear. "He's cutting you out," the psyker pants. "He has made a pocket. I can't reach you easily. I can give you some cover. Not much." "Stay alive," Severian growls. "We're coming." Ethan tilts his head. "You always fight," the sorcerer says. "First you fought aliens that burned your worlds. Then you fought machines older than your species. Now you have jumped into a war that is not yours. Tell me, little soldier, has that ever worked? Are your worlds safe?" Images flash in Chief's mind. Reach on fire. New Mombasa under glass. Earth, scarred but alive. Cortana, gone. "You fight and fight," Ethan says softly. "And still you lose people. I can see all the places where you failed. I can see every what if that haunts you." The shard on his staff flares. Chief staggers as memories twist. He sees Reach not falling because he had been somewhere else faster. He sees the flood never spreading because he had fired a halo ring first, killing trillions for trillions more. He sees a UNSC that used Forerunner tech without fear, that let AIs rule so that men did not have to. Each vision shows fewer dead. Each vision shows a worse future. "You are bound by rules," Ethan says, "by orders, by fear of becoming a monster. You limit yourself, and so you lose." Tzeentch's change. He offers freedom from those chains. You could use your path to cut away empires that waste lives. You could lead humanity into a new age. No corpse on a throne, no alien gods, just a clean rewrite. He steps closer. "Serve me," he whispers. "Just once. Open one path for me. Let me walk your line to your old worlds. We will prune the tree together. After that, you can play your hero again." Chief is silent. The visions swirl around him like ghosts. He has known choices like this. Fire the ring or let the flood spread. Save a squad or save a planet. He speaks slowly. "My ethic is simple," he says. "Protect humanity, all of it. Not just the part that listens to me. Not just the part that kneels. If I give you a path to my old home, you will not prune. You will burn." Ethan smiles behind his mask. "Of course I will burn," he says. Fire makes room for growth. Chief's jaw tightens. He feels pressure in his skull as the sorcerer pushes harder. The shard in the staff brightens. Now the visions are not just pictures. They are feelings. He feels what it would be like to give in, to let go of fear, to unleash his core without limit, to cut through reality like a sword, opening new paths with each step, ignoring the cost. For a moment, he stands in a sky full of halo rings, all firing, all perfect. No flood, no covenant, just silence. Peace, Ethan murmurs. Chief knows better. He thinks of the people on the ground. He thinks of a child on Desolium, hiding under rubble as chaos shells fall. He thinks of a factory worker on Reach, watching Covenant plasma fall from the sky. He thinks of the word all. I won't trade one nightmare for another, he says. He reaches inside his armor again, toward the core. The AI screams. Warning, it shouts. If you twist the pattern again at this level, you will cross safe stress. You will cook yourself. We will die. Ethan hears it. That is your prison, the sorcerer says. Always ready to die, never ready to change. You would rather break than bend. Chief grips that stubbornness like a rope. He does not ask the core to change this time. He asks it to anchor. He orders it to lock his own mind. The Forerunner device obeys as best it can. It builds walls inside his thoughts, using math instead of faith, patterns instead of prayers. Ethan's visions slam into those walls. The pain is sharp. His shield bar drops as the core bleeds power to hold the inner line. Core stress, 89%, 93%. Too high, the AI cries. If you stay here, hold, Chief says. His voice is calm, even as his muscles tremble. Ethan snarls. You are wasting a gift, the sorcerer says. You are letting fear rule you. You will watch billions die because you refused one change. Chief steadies his rifle with shaking hands. I've watched billions die when people chose the wrong change, he says. I know which fear I can live with. He fires. This time, the bullets do not curve. The core's inner walls have thrown off the sorcerer's fine control. For a brief window, the warp's grip on the air around them slips. The rounds slam into Ethan's chest. His armor's wards catch some. Others punch through, drawing black blood that steams and shifts on the stone. The sorcerer screams, more in rage than pain. He thrusts his staff at Chief. Warp fire erupts, a beam of twisted light. Chief's shield is at nothing. He cannot block it. The librarian shouts across the link. Now! Blue fire lashes out from somewhere above, crossing the gap between platforms. It hits Ethan's beam, diverting some of it. Even so, the edge of the warp fire catches Chief's left side. His armor glows white hot. His ribs feel like they are cracking. His vision whites out. He falls. This time, he falls down. Gravity remembers itself. The stone under his feet shudders. Ethan stumbles too, staff wavering. The warp bubble around the sanctum shakes. Reality pushes in. Chief hits the floor hard, gasping. His HUD is a snowstorm. The AI's voice is faint. Core at 97% stress, it wheezes. Any more of that and you will pop like a shell. Chief cannot answer. His left side is numb. He forces himself to look up. Ethan is on one knee, armor smoking. The shard on his staff is cracked. Warp light leaks from it in small, uncontrolled arcs. You, the sorcerer hisses, a mortal, body, a dumb machine, and some alien rock, and you dare stand against a chosen of the Changer. He staggers to his feet. Chief tries to raise his rifle again. It will not aim. His arm hangs heavy. He may not live through another hit. Something golden moves at the edge of his vision. For an instant, just one heartbeat, the swirl of colors around the sanctum clears. Through the torn bubble, Chief sees something impossible. Not in the chamber, far away, over a different world. A shape like a throne. A light that does not burn his mind. A shadow of a figure seated, still, vast. A voice that is not a voice murmurs across his thoughts. Not words, just one feeling. Stand. The warp walls around the sanctum blaze with sigils not of Tzeentch, but of another order. Lines of burning gold cut across the purple, holding it back for a moment. The librarian gasps. The Emperor's gaze, he whispers. He has noticed. Ethan recoils, eyes all slamming shut at once. No, he screams. He does not look here. This is my space. His staff flares. The golden lines shake. But they hold long enough. A teleport lock snaps onto the platform. Light spears down. Severian and 2 Templars appear at Chief's side in a burst of crackling energy. They charge Ethan at once. Chainswords roar. The librarian's staff blasts. The sorcerer's shields are weak now. The cracked shard cannot focus his will cleanly. He throws up a barrier and stumbles back. I will not be taken, he rages. He slams his staff down. The stone under his feet crumbles. He falls through his own hole, vanishing into the color storm. The warp bubble collapses. Platforms slam together. Colors turn to smoke. The teleport locks grab Chief and the Templars and rip them out. The sanctum shatters behind them like glass. They reappear on the Blade of Faith's teleport pad in a burst of energy and steam. Chief drops to one knee. His left side is blackened, armor sealed but warped. Under it, flesh is torn and burned. The AI chokes through error messages. We are alive, it says. I did not expect that. Severian staggers, then straightens. He is breathing hard. His armor is scored. Blood, his and others, runs in channels. The unspoken path, Varro demands over Vox. Warp storm around it is breaking up, comes a Navy officer's reply. They are pulling back. Their guns are cooling. They are retreating. The storm is slipping. Status of Ethan, Varro asks. Unknown, Severian says. He fled into the warp like the rat he is, but his grip is broken for now. Chief forces himself to his feet. His shield bar crawls up a single point and stops. Core stress, he asks. Down to 80, the AI says, but with permanent damage. We have burned away some safety layers. Every activation from now on will hit the ceiling faster. Also, the warp fire left residue. You are marked. The librarian limps closer. He reaches out, touching the air near Chief's left side. His fingers glow faint blue. He flinches. It is true, he says. The warp remembers you. Ethan's sting is still inside your pattern. Not enough to twist you now. Enough to make you shine whenever you act. Varro arrives in person, stormtroopers at his back. He takes in the scene with quick, sharp glances. The sorcerer, he asks. Wounded, Severian says. Not slain, but beaten enough to loosen his grip on this system. The warp storm fades. We can make the jump soon. Varro's gaze pins Chief. And you, the Inquisitor asks. Chief answers plainly. Alive, he says. Marked. Tired. Varro's eyes narrow. You refused him? He asks. He offered you paths? Yes, Chief says. And you did not take them, Varro says. No, Chief says. Varro studies him for a long moment. Then he nods once. Then you have passed the first test, the Inquisitor says. You stood in the warp, heard a sorcerer's offers, and chose duty instead of power. That alone places you above many who have worn our colours. His tone softens by a tiny fraction. But you are also more dangerous than before, he says. He has your scent now. You carry his sting. The Emperor himself glanced at you. There is no going back to being merely a soldier. He turns to Severian. We go to Terra, Varro says. At once, before the next storm rises. Severian nods. I will see it done, he says. Codex note. Inquisitorial archives later class this clash as the first Rift duel. The moment when the off-world Spartan proved both his resistance to corruption and his permanent entanglement with the warp. The Blade of Faith and its escorting ships break orbit around Decilium with engines burning bright. Behind them, the world still bears scars, ruined hives, smouldering manufactorums, mass graves. But it still spins, its people still live. Governor Vaughn stands on an observation balcony as the ship's light fades into the stars. She makes the sign of the Aquila over her chest. "Come back with judgment," she whispers, "or do not come back at all." In orbit, the fleet forms up. The strike cruiser, a black ship, blacker than the void, used to carry psychers to Terra. Several Navy escorts. Their shields shimmer as tech priests chant over Geller fields and warp engines. Inside the Blade of Faith, the air tastes of incense and machine oil. Master Chief lies in a medici bay, armor open for the first time since he arrived. Imperial medici clerics stare in awe at his altered body. Extra ribs, reinforced bones, a second heart, clean scars from old battles. Almost like a proto-Astartes, one whispers. "Do not say that," another hisses. "Not until the chaplain declares it not heresy." They work with steady hands, guided by the Magos and the AI's careful prompts, to seal his burns and reset broken ribs. "This is going to hurt," one warns. "I've had worse," Chief says. It does hurt, but he has. Later, he walks the halls again, armor resealed. His left side aches with each step, a deep, cold pain where warp fire kissed him. He does not mind. Pain means he is still alive. He passes a small chapel. The door is open. Inside, candles burn before a crude metal statue of the Emperor, a robed man with a sword and a halo of iron. Black Templars kneel, praying in low Gothic and high Gothic. Severian stands at the back, head bowed. Chief pauses at the door. The captain looks up. "You can come in," Severian says. "The Emperor is not so small that only one kind of man may look at him." Chief steps inside. The air smells of wax and oil. The statue's face is worn smooth from touch. He stands beside Severian. "You saw something," the captain says quietly. "In the sorcerer's sanctum, when the warp shook." Chief nods once. "A throne," he says. "A light. A feeling like stand." Severian's jaw tightens. "You felt his gaze," he says. "Even we, his sons, rarely feel it that clear. Some die when they do. Some go mad. You still walk. That matters." He looks up at the statue. "The Emperor has not spoken aloud in 10,000 years, Severian says. But his will still shapes the warp. His light still burns demons. His thoughts still push men like pieces on a board. You are one of those pieces now." Chief looks at the statue too. "In my war," he says, "we had leaders who sent us into hell and called it duty. Some were right, some were wrong. I did my job anyway, but I always wondered what they saw that we did not." He gestures slightly at the statue. "Is he like that?" he asks. Severian smiles without humor. "He is more," he says. "He is a man who became a god, and a god who refuses to be worshipped. He carries all our sins on a throne that burns him alive every moment. He sees more than we can imagine. He still often chooses the least bad path, not the good one. If you expect purity, you will be disappointed." Chief nods. "I never expect purity," he says. "Only clarity." Severian considers that. "Clarity is a rare gift in our age," he says. "You may get some of it on Terra, or you may get more questions. Either way, your code will be tested again." They stand in silence a moment longer. Then a ship-wide vox call echoes through the halls. Translation to "Warp in 5 minutes," a voice says. "All hands secure stations. All souls prepare prayers." Severian makes the sign of the Aquila. We travel through a sea of madness, he says. Our machines make small islands of sanity. Our faith makes them hold. Yours, we will see. The warp translation is not a gentle thing. Chief stands in a reinforced viewing bay as the blade of faith's warp engines fire. Outside the armored glass, the stars stretch. The darkness bends. Space itself seems to roll like a wave. Then the universe tears. The real stars vanish, replaced by a shifting mess of colors and shapes and shadows that have too many eyes. The ship groans. Alarms mutter. Geller field projectors hum like a choir of angry bees. The AI is quiet for once. Even my models do not like this, it admits. We are sailing through a physics error. Inside the ship, certain doors seal. Certain decks are emptied. Psychers are locked in cells, their screams echoing through thick walls. One such cell is near the path Chief walks. He hears the muffled cries. He pauses. A hooded astropath presses her face to the tiny barred window. Her eyes are white and blind. You, she whispers, though the door is thick. You shine. Chief feels a chill. The AI murmurs. She is seeing your mark. Go back, a sister of silence hisses, stepping between him and the door. Her face is hard. Her aura is a blank hole in the world. Chief moves on. He reaches a long corridor lined with prayer scrolls. There, the librarian waits. You should rest, the psyker says. You should too, Chief answers. The librarian gives a tight smile. I cannot, he says. The warp presses on every mind aboard. I stand as one of many walls. If I sleep, things leak. They walk together. This place, Chief says, meaning the warp. You live with it, every day. Yes, the librarian says. We swim in madness to fight monsters. We become monsters if we are not careful. He glances at Chief. You saw how Ethan used your guilt, he said. That is your weak point. You carry every failure as if you alone could have changed it. Maybe I could have, Chief says. Maybe, the librarian says. Maybe not. The point is, you cannot carry all of humanity on your shoulders. That is what the ruinous powers want. They love men who think they must save everyone. It makes them easy to twist. Chief is quiet. My motto is simple, he says at last. Protect humanity. Then add this, the librarian says. Protect humanity from yourself as well. From what you might do if you stop listening to others. They walk in silence a while. The warp hum deepens. The lights flicker. Something is wrong, the librarian says. The attack comes without warning. One moment, the Geller field hums, holding the warp at bay. The next, a shriek of psychic feedback tears through the ship. Chief staggers, clutching his helmet. Pain, like Ethan's voice, but sharper, more focused. The AI yells. Localized Geller fluctuation, it shouts. Something is punching a claw through the field, right into this corridor. The air splits. Not like a normal hole, like a reflection cracking. The wall ahead becomes a mirror of Chief for a second. He sees himself, green armor, gold visor. Then the mirror image steps out of the wall. It is him. Almost. The armor is similar but warped. Blades of metal protrude from the joints. The visor glows with a sickly purple light from within. The UNSC symbol is broken by an 8-pointed star of chaos stamped over it. The mirrored Chief tilts his head. Hello, he says. His voice is Chief's voice, but with an echo, like several versions speaking at once. The librarian throws up a psychic shield. Warp wind howls down the corridor. Prayer scrolls burn. Demon host, the librarian spits. A reflection made from your pattern. Ethan plays with your shadow. The warped Spartan chuckles. Not Ethan, he says. He opened the door. I walked through. I am you if you had listened. If you had accepted that saving everyone means breaking the universe a little. He walks forward. Each step leaves small cracks of purple on the floor. Chief raises his rifle. The other does the same, faster. Their shots meet mid-air, bullets sparking off each other. Then they move, closing the distance in a blur. They crash together. Fists and forearms, knee checks and shoulder throws. They know each other's moves. The Warp Chief fights like someone who has never worried about collateral damage. He aims his throws toward bulkheads that groan. He kicks toward pipes that hiss. Chief fights like someone who has always watched the people around him. He shifts slightly, keeping the librarian behind him, away from the worst of the shockwaves. You hold back, the mirror says, locking arms. You always have. You never fired the big gun first. You never broke the worst rules. You chose hard paths and lost entire worlds. He headbutts Chief. Chief's visor cracks, a small spider web of lines. I accepted what had to be done, the mirror says. I saw the math. Lose 1 billion now, save 10 later. Tear one halo ring, stop the flood. Give one path to chaos, rule the rest of reality. He pushes, forcing Chief back. The Imperium already does what I do, the mirror says. They burn worlds. They kill psychers by the million to keep their throne lit. The only difference is that I know I am a monster. They pretend they are saints. Chief grunts, muscles straining. He remembers the librarian's words. Protect humanity from yourself. He thinks of the Emperor on the throne, burning for 10,000 years to keep humans alive. He thinks of this twisted version of himself, eager to do the same without regret. Maybe they are monsters, Chief says low. Maybe I am too, but I'm not your kind of monster. He shifts his weight, suddenly, letting the mirror's push carry him forward. He twists, hooking his leg behind the others, and throws him. The mirror chief hits the floor, cracking it. The librarian seizes the opening. Blue psychic fire slams down like a hammer, pinning the warped Spartan to the deck for an instant. But the shadow laughs even under the weight. This is nothing, he says. Ethan can make 1,000 of me. As long as you shine, he has clay. You cannot fight all of your own possible sins. He flexes. Warp tendrils push back against the librarian's force. The Geller field flickers again. For a moment, the corridor around them becomes a forest of bones and rusted guns. Then it snaps back. Chief knows he cannot win a drawn-out fight here. Every second, the warp claw digs deeper into the ship. Every second, more echoes might step through. He makes a choice. He reaches for the core again. Don't, the AI whispers. You cannot. I'm not using it as a shield, Chief says. I am using it as a knife. He orders the core to push out, not in, to flare, not to wall, to send one clean, ordered pulse of slipspace energy through his armor and into the warped copy. A small, sharp cut in reality. The core obeys. A blue-white shockwave explodes from Chief's chest. It is not a big blast. It does not tear the ship, but it is pure order in a place of chaos. It hits the mirror chief square in the torso. The warped armor screams like a living thing. Purple cracks race across it. The demoni inside howl. You cannot. The shadow gasps. Then his voice shreds into static. The warped Spartan crumples, his form coming apart into a cloud of dust and glowing motes that smell like burned plastic and rotten flowers. They swirl, try to reform. The librarian slams his staff down, adding his will to the core's pulse. Back into the shit sea with you, he snarls. The motes are swept down an invisible drain. The warp claw closes. The Geller field flares bright gold white. The corridor is solid again. Chief staggers, dropping to one knee. His core screams with pain. Core stress, 100%, 99%, 96%. His shield is gone. His muscles shake. "You idiot," the AI says weakly. "You drove the core to the brink. Again. You shortened our life by a lot." Chief breathes hard. "But I stopped him," he says. "For now," the librarian says, leaning on his staff. He is pale, sweat on his brow. "That was only one echo, a test. The mirror used your flaw against you. He told you that you cannot save everyone. He was right, but he wanted you to stop trying the right way." "You cannot save everyone," the librarian repeats softer. "Say it." Chief looks up. "I cannot save everyone," he says. The words hurt. "But I will save as many as I can," he adds, "without becoming something they need saving from." The librarian nods. "That is the difference between you and the mirror," he says. "Hold it." Alarms calm. The ship's spirit groans, then settles. Over Vox, Severian's voice comes. "Warp incursion suppressed," the captain says. "All decks report in." Varro's voice follows tight. "Status of the subject?" he asks. "Alive," the librarian answers. "More scarred, more stubborn." There is a pause. "Good," Varro says at last. "We are close to Terra. Let the warp throw all its parlor tricks now. Better here than before the throne." Time in the warp is strange. It could be days. It could be weeks. For the crew, it feels like a very long night. Chief spends some of it in the chapel, listening to Templar litanies. He does not kneel, but he stands. He spends some in the training cages, fighting servitors and sparring with Marines. He pulls his punches a little now, not from mercy, but to avoid flaring his core needlessly. He spends some in a quiet alcove, talking with the AI. "I am not built for this place," the AI admits once. "I was meant to handle slip space, not a nightmare sea. But I am learning. Every time the warp touches us, I build better filters." "Just don't start liking it," Chief says. "That would be corruption," the AI says. "I am too proud of my code to let anything ugly rewrite me." The librarian meets him often as well. They talk of duty and fate. "In this galaxy," the Psyker says, "we say that only in death does duty end. You have died inside a little and kept walking. That is a kind of heresy here. A useful one." Chief shrugs. "I don't know how to stop," he says. The librarian smiles sadly. "Neither does the Emperor," he says. "That is why he is still on that throne." One day, if it is a day, the warp outside the ship begins to thin. The colors fade. The screaming in the Psyker cells lessens. The Gellerfield's hum drops from a painful buzz to a low, steady tone. On the bridge, bells ring. Approaching the Sol system, a navigator intones from her tank. The Astronomicon burns bright. The beacon calls us home. Severian watches the view screens as real stars stab back into existence. Imperial sensor buoys ping the ship. Defense grids wake. Inquisitor Varro, a crisp voice calls over Vox. "This is the Sol System Naval Command. Identify your vessel and your purpose." Varro steps forward. "I am Inquisitor Malchior Varro of the Ordo Hereticus," he says. "I bring a warp-marked asset for judgment before the throne. Clearance code, Sigma Tertius 7, and a full log of a chaos incursion in the Decilium sector." There is a long pause. Chief waits in the wings, listening. At last, the reply comes. "Clearance confirmed," the voice says. "You are ordered to proceed to Terra under escort. Any deviation will be met with lethal force. Welcome to Sol, Inquisitor." Out the viewing ports, terror fills the sky. The throne world is not gentle. From orbit, Chief sees a planet wrapped in armor. A ring of orbital plate cities clings to it, flashing with gun batteries. Void shields shimmer like giant bubbles. Shipyards hang like metal vines. Closer, the surface is a patchwork of hive cities and fortress lines. The only green is in carefully guarded gardens. The Imperial Palace is not just a building. It is a mountain of gold and stone that covers a continent. Walls miles high, spikes, towers, murals carved into the bones of the world. Statues of the Emperor and his saints stand taller than skyscrapers, swords raised, eyes always watching. The blade of faith descends under heavy escort. Thunderhawks and Aquila landers swarm around it like flies. On the main flight deck, Chief stands ready. Severian and a small honor guard of Black Templars stand with him. Varro is there, rosette polished, robes clean. A squad of custodes wait on the deck as the main hangar opens. They are not like Space Marines. They are taller, broader. Their gold armor shines with a light of its own, engraved with art so fine it could have been made for kings, not war. Their spears crackle with power. Beside them stand Sisters of Silence, silent witch hunters whose very presence makes the air thick for psychers. Chief feels the weight of their gaze even through his visor. One custodian steps forward. His helm is crested. His cloak is red. "I am Tribune Acastian of the Adeptus Custodes," he says. "By the will of the Emperor, I take custody of the off-world warrior for judgment." Severian does not bow, but he inclines his head. "He has fought well for the Imperium," the captain says. "He has refused corruption at great cost. I speak for him as a warrior, if that matters." Acastian's eyes are unreadable. "The Emperor will see what he wills," he says. "Your word is noted. Inquisitor Varro, your reports will be added to the petitions. But from this moment, the path to the throne is ours." Varro accepts it without protest. "The asset?" Acastian asks, turning his gaze on Chief. Chief steps forward. He's shorter than the custodian, but not by much. "Name?" Acastian asks. "John 117, Chief says. "Master Chief Petty Officer, UNSC." The custodian tastes the strange words. "You have walked paths no man of the Imperium has walked," he says. "You have let chaos touch you and did not break. You have drawn the Emperor's eye. Few men can say all three." He gestures with his spear. "Come," he says. "Speak with the master of mankind." If he listens. They move through the Imperial Palace like ants through a cathedral. Hall after hall, each big enough to hold a hive. Floors of marble inlaid with gold. Walls covered in scenes of the Emperor's rise, his wars, his Primarchs, his betrayal by Horus. Chief walks beside Acastian. Severian and Varro are left behind at a certain gate, stopped by a wall of Sisters of Silence. "Only the asset," a custodian says, "and those appointed. The librarian cannot come. His psychic presence is not welcome close to the throne." Chief walks alone with the custodians and three sisters. As they go deeper, the air grows thick. The light is strange. He feels a pressure on his mind unlike anything Ethan did. This is not an attack. It is a weight. At last, they stand before a vast door. It is carved with scenes of 10,000 years of war. It is shut. The custodians and sisters stop. Acastian looks at Chief. "Beyond this gate is the Sanctum Imperialis," he says, "the throne hall. You will not walk all the way to the golden throne itself. No one does, save a few. But you will stand in his presence. You will be judged. You may not hear words. You may only feel. You must answer with who you are." Chief nods. "Any advice?" he asks. Acastian considers. "Do not lie," the custodian says. "He will know. Do not expect comfort. You may not like what you see in yourself, but do not look away." The sisters step forward. One raises a hand toward Chief's helmet. He allows her to remove it, The air on his face is cold and old. The door opens with a sound like mountains grinding. The throne hall is less grand than the outer halls, but only because it is too vast for the eye to hold. Chief sees only part of it. High pillars vanish into haze. Ranks of silent figures line the sides. Custodes, officials, priests, servo skulls. At the far end, so distant he cannot see clearly, a glow burns. A shape like a chair, a shape like a man. Machines surrounded, tubes and cables and glowing banks. He feels the hum of a dying star in the air. He steps forward until a Castian touches his shoulder. "Here," the Tribune says. "This is close enough for you." Chief stands. The hall is silent. Then a pressure touches his mind. It is not like Ethan. It is not a claw or a whisper. It is a light turned on inside his skull. He feels himself seen. Not just his armor or his face, his memories, his choices, his fears. He braces. Images rise without his control. Him as a child, running drills. Him in Spartan armor for the first time. Him on Reach, failing to save everyone. Him on the ring. Him watching Cortana slip away. And now, him in this galaxy. Saving Desolium citizens. Breaking the warp anchor. Refusing Ethan. Destroying the mirror. Behind each shown scene, he feels a second image. What could have been? If he had taken the easy shot. If he had fired the big gun. If he had said yes to the sorcerer. He feels the weight of all those paths. His knees threaten to buckle. He hears no words with his ears, but a meaning forms, sharp and clear, like text on his HUD. You are a blade that refuses to cut the wrong target, even when your masters tell you to. You are a man who will walk into hell if someone says a human is there. You are stubborn enough to fight gods and sorcerers and yourself. You are also a risk. Chief swallows. He thinks back. He lets the throne feel his answer. I will take that risk, he thinks. I will accept limits. I will accept rules that make sense. I will not accept burning worlds just to sleep easier. Give me a job. Give me lines not to cross. I will still push as far as I can without stepping over. The pressure tightens. For a heartbeat, he feels what it is like to see everything. 1,000,000 worlds, 1,000,000,000 souls, endless wars, choices where every option is bad. He almost breaks. Then the weight eases. A cold, clear feeling settles in its place. Not warmth, not love, agreement. A Castian's voice is distant. The Emperor has weighed you, he says softly, and found you useful. Chief exhales. He had not realized he was holding his breath. The light in his mind shifts. He sees, for a heartbeat, 3 roads branching out like cracks in glass. He cannot follow them yet. He only knows they exist. Return, wander, serve. His chest tightens. The pressure lifts. The throne's gaze turns away. Chief is suddenly just a man in armor in a huge room again. A Castian rests a hand on his shoulder. You did not scream, the custodian says. Most men do. Some die. This is noted. Chief finds his voice. What now? He asks. Now, a Castian says. The Imperium decides how best to use you without letting you break the little order we still have. You will not like all of it, but you will be given a mandate. They turn and walk out of the hall. The days after the throne hall feel strangely quiet. No more warp storms. No more demon echoes. Just long halls, formal meetings and waiting. Chief spends some time in a sealed briefing chamber deep in the palace. Here, there are no candles, no murals, just bare stone and humming projectors. A Castian is there. Varro is there. Severian is there. Armor clean but scarred. A hololith sphere hangs in the air, full of tiny moving lights. Worlds, Varro says. Each light a world where your presence could change the story. each light a world you cannot reach all at once. Chief watches the lights. He knows this math. Too many fronts, not enough soldiers. A Castian steps forward. The Emperor has looked at you, the custodian says. He has seen what you are. He has given no words, but his will shapes what we offer you now. The hololith shifts. 3 paths appear as glowing lines, branching out from one point. First, Varro says, pointing to the left line. Return. The light shows a small image. Chief's own universe. UNSC ships, halo rings, faces he knows. You could go back, Varro says. The priests and magi think they can twist your core and the warp together one last time. The cost would be high. The path would be unstable. You might lose your memories of this galaxy, or your past. You might shatter both realms a little when you go. The image flickers, showing fractures across both skies. And, Varro adds, chaos would still have your pattern. Ethan would hunt you in your old home. You would fight alone, without our wards. If you fail there, both your people and ours may pay. The second line in the hololith brightens. Second, Severian says, free agent. The image shifts. Chief in his current armor, walking from war to war without banner or master, helping where he wishes, defying orders he hates. You could roam the Imperium, Severian says. Fight where you think you are needed most. Answer no one. Ignore any command that smells of waste. The image darkens. Inquisitorial kill teams hunting him. Chapters arguing. Some saints' cults rising around his symbol. Some chaos cults twisting it too. The people would love you, Varro says coldly. Some would worship you, some would fear you. The lords of terror would see you as a seed of civil war. Chaos would whisper that you are a better emperor. You would become a rally flag for those who want change at any price. In time, we would have to try to destroy you. If we failed, the Imperium itself might split. The third line glows. Third, a Castian says, sanctioned servant. The image becomes clear. Chief in armor that is still green but edged with black and gold. The UNSC symbol fused with a stylized double-headed eagle on his chest. A halo of faint light around his core. You would serve under law, a Castian says. Not as a normal soldier, not as an Astartes of any one chapter, as a bound weapon of terror. You would go where we send you, fight when we allow. We would put hard chains on your power. We would forbid you from opening any path back to your old realm. The Emperor keeps you here, forever. Chief watches the image. He sees himself leading small strike teams into impossible fights, breaking demon engines, evacuating hive levels, saying no when a Lord Governor calls for easy fire too soon, and sometimes being overruled. You would save millions, a Castian says. Not all, never all. You would watch worlds die that you could not reach in time because we ordered you elsewhere. You would hate us for that. We accept that. Varro speaks, voice softer than usual. But your presence would also draw storms, he says. Every major battle you join will wake the warp. Every time you push your core, Ethan and others like him will feel it. You will be a standing risk for as long as you live. Chief listens. He thinks of each path. If he returns, he risks tearing his old universe open to chaos with no backup. If he walks free, he risks starting a new kind of war inside this empire. If he serves, he lives under chains that might force him to watch preventable deaths. He feels the throne's distant gaze again, very faint. Not pressure this time, just waiting. You will choose, a Castian says. We will not choose for you. But understand this, the Emperor does not often hold out 3 roads. that he has let us see them and all is rare. Do not waste that gift on a coward's choice. Chief breathes in, breathes out. My ethic stays the same, he says. Protect humanity. He looks at the first, path. If I go back, he says, I take chaos with me. My people are not ready. They just climbed out of one war. I drop a worse one on them. I won't do that. He looks at the second. If I walk alone, he says, I help some people fast. I hurt more later. You'd hunt me. Chaos would paint me as their champion. I become a story, not a soldier. I don't want that. He looks at the third. I hate the idea of chains, he says simply. But I hate wasted lives more. If I serve under rules, I can push against them from inside. I can argue. I can refuse the worst orders. I can still be me. He touches his chest plate. I choose sanctioned servant, he says. I choose to stay, under law, under watch, on the condition that we write the rules clear. No tricks. Varro's eyes narrow. You demand terms, he asks. Yes, Chief says. If I'm going to be a weapon, I want to know where I cannot swing. Severian's mouth curves, just a little. That is a very Astartes thing to say, he murmurs. Acastian nods once. Then we speak terms, the custodian says, and the throne will listen. They stand around a smaller table now. No hololith, just a stone slab and a Vox seal recorder. Acastian speaks first. Sanctioned asset, Primaris exo homo designation proposed, he says. Call sign, Spartan. Bound directly to the authority of the Golden Throne, acting through the High Lords, the Inquisition, and the Adeptus Custodes. Not under any single chapter, not under any single sector. Varro adds, he may not open, test, or request any path back to his native realm. He may not teach the theory of his slipspace core to any but approved magi, under direct inquisitorial and custodian watch. His path must end here. Chief nods. Agreed, he says. If I try to go back, I risk breaking both. I won't. Second, Acastian says. Battle use. The rules fall into place one by one. He will deploy only when at least 2 of 3 approve. A custodian, an inquisitor, or a chapter master on site. He can refuse orders that clearly aim at needless slaughter of civilians, but he must then offer a viable other plan. If 3 separate high authorities judge that his presence on a world is doing more harm than good, because of warp storms, cult growth, or other factors, they may order him removed, even if it means leaving that world to burn. Chief swallows at that. I will not like that, he says. You are not required to like it, Varro answers. You are required to obey, unless obeying breaks your core oath, in which case you may appeal. To whom? Chief asks. Acastian's hand rests on the table. To the throne, he says. Once, maybe twice. Not for every little thing. But if you are ordered to do something that will break you beyond repair, you may ask him again. That is more than any other soldier gets. Third, Severian says, mercy. They look at Chief. He speaks first this time. I will not glass a city just to save supplies, he says. I will not kill children because their parents prayed wrong yesterday. I will kill cults. I will kill demons. I will kill traitors who cannot come back. But I will fight for civilians until there is truly no other way. Varro's lips thin. The Imperium often cannot afford such softness, he says. The Imperium can afford one man who tries, Severian counters. We are not asking all chapters to copy him. We are letting one blade swing in a slightly kinder arc. Acastian thinks. The throne's feeling on this is complex, he says slowly. He carries every life wasted by zeal. He carries every life wasted by fear. He will allow this clause. He looks at Chief. We write, when given a choice between safe waste and risky rescue, the Spartan may attempt one risky rescue if odds are not foolish. If he fails, he submits to review. If he succeeds, he is not punished for the attempt. He is not allowed to attempt madness that would clearly doom greater numbers later. He must learn that line, as we all do. Chief nods. That is enough, he says. Fourth, Varro says quietly. End state. They all fall silent. If your core begins to break, the Inquisitor says, if the warp mark on you opens wider, if you start hearing chaos more than us, if you start to like it, you will be a bomb in the middle of our empire. We cannot allow that. He meets Chief's eyes. If we judge you lost, Varro says, you die. Fast, clean, no daemonic game. Do you accept that? Chief answers without pause. Yes, he says. If I become the thing I fight, you end me. No speeches. He taps his chest. And I'll help, he adds. I've seen what happens when people hesitate. Acastian nods. That is the boundaries clause, the custodian says. Power under law, mercy under cost, death under corruption. He touches a rune. The Vox seal records the pact. In the distance, very faint, Chief feels a small ripple of that clear, coal light again. Agreement. Severian places his hand on the table too. I, Captain Severian of the Black Templars, accept this warrior as battle brother indeed, if not in gene, he says. I will fight beside him. I will watch him. I will kill him if he falls. That is my vow. Varro adds his own. I, Inquisitor Malchior Varro, accept him as sanctioned asset, not as thing, he says. I will use him when needed. I will oppose those who would waste him for pride. I will also burn him if he turns. That is my vow. Acastian's voice is last. I, Tribune Acastian of the Adeptus Custodes, bear the throne's silent will, he says. I bind this pact to the palace's stone. The master of mankind may unmake it at any time. Until then, it stands. They all look at Chief. He puts his hand down too. I, John 1:17, he says, accept your chains. I accept your kill switch. In return, I ask one thing. What? Varro asks. When I die, Chief says, don't let chaos have my body, or my core. Drop me in a star if you have to. Acastian inclines his head. Done, he says. The change in his armor is subtle, but real. Tech priests and Custodes artificers work together in a high forge deep in the palace. They do not break his Mjolnir design. They add to it. New plates guard the core. Hexagrammic wards are carved into the inner frame. A small golden aquila is set over the old UNSC crest, not erasing it, but fusing with it. His visor stays gold. His armor stays green. But edges are trimmed with black, and a single narrow white cross is painted on his left pauldron. Severian grunts approval when he sees it. Not a Templar, he says, but close enough that our enemies will learn to fear the color. Varro watches, expression unreadable. You look less like an accident now, the Inquisitor says, more like a message. Chief looks down at his chest. The fused eagle and UNSC mark catch the light. He does not feel holy. He feels heavier. It will do, he says. Codex note. The Aquila Spartan sigil becomes an unofficial mark used in marginal banners and field shrines, classified by the Administratum as a variant icon of imperial protection, subject to inquisitorial review. The epilogue does not come all at once. It arrives in glimpses, scattered across the galaxy. On a shrine world under siege by a demon engine, a new kind of drop pod hits the ground. It opens to release Black Templars and one green giant who carries a weapon no tech priest can name. He cuts the demon's heart out with a single, searing pulse that bends space and scars the ground. The warp howls. A golden flash flickers in the clouds, pushing the storm back just enough. Inquisitorial observers mark their data slates. Asset Spartan deployed, they write. Casualties, heavy. World, saved. Warp activity, high but contained. On a border world about to be virus-bombed because of a possible minor cult, a convoy of civilians trudges toward execution pits. An Aquila lander roars down, engines screaming. A green armored figure walks out between rows of shocked guard. He speaks quietly with the on-site commissar and the inquisitorial aide. He asks to see the cult marks. He cross-checks signs with the librarian on Vox. He demands 1 hour to separate the infected from the terrified. The hour is bloody and hard. He kills some. He saves most. Later, the system's lord writes an angry letter about softness. Varro replies with cold numbers showing that the infection was contained and that the saved workers kept the world's tides flowing. The Spartan remains expensive, Varro notes. He is also efficient. We keep him. In the eye of terror, somewhere in the broken depths, Ethon the Riftseer stares into a mirror made of frozen warp. He sees John 117's path, twisted and fuzzy now, lines crossed with gold. He smiles, though his cracked armor still leaks faint light. "I will find you again," he whispers. "You have chosen chains. Chains can be broken. You have chosen mercy. Mercy can be twisted. Change never ends." Behind him, warped Spartans move in the shadows, half-formed echoes waiting for a better anchor. In the Black Templar's halls, younger initiates touch a crude drawing on a chapel wall. It shows a green warrior standing beside black armored knights, chainsword in one hand, strange rifle in the other. "Is he one of us?" a neophyte asks. "No," an old sword brother says. "He is something else. He fights like us. He suffers like us. He's chained like us. That is enough." On Terra, Acastian stands once more in the throne hall shadows. He watches the glow around the golden throne flicker and blaze, as it always does. He thinks of the off-world soldier who did not scream. "Another knife on the board," he murmurs. "Not a Primarch, not a saint, just a man who keeps walking." The throne does not answer, but the Astronomicon burns a fraction more steady that day. Far away, on some unnamed hive world no one important thinks about, a child sits on a broken hab wall. She holds a scrap of metal she found, painted green with a tiny, crude eagle scratched into it. Above her, in the smog, 2 symbols are painted on a ruined spire: the double-headed eagle of the Imperium, and beside it, in faded lines, a simple shield with a visor line. "Who is that?" she asks an old worker beside her, pointing. "The Emperor's off-world knight," the old man says. "The one with the strange armor. He came when the sky bled, before you were born. Helped the guard hold the breach. Didn't say a word. Just stood between us and the monsters. Then he left." The girl traces the little shield with her thumb. "Will he come back?" she asks. The old man shrugs. "If the Emperor wills it," he says, "or if humans are in trouble. He seems to listen to that." The girl smiles, small but real. In her head, the 2 symbols fuse, not as gods, as a promise. Somewhere in the void, on a strike cruiser racing toward another fire, Master Chief stands in the Thunderhawk Bay. He checks his weapons. He feels the ache in his side where warp fire once bit him. He feels the heavy wards around his core. Severian claps his shoulder. "Another hellhole," the captain says. "Another chance to stand." Chief nods. "Same rule as always," he says. "Protect humanity," Severian answers. "Protect humanity," Chief echoes. The drop light turns green. They fall toward the next war, a Spartan bound to an immortal throne, carrying 2 galaxies worth of ghosts and a mandate written in blood and chains. He does not know how his story ends. He only knows that until it does, he will keep moving forward.